Hey, Tony Chips here from Chia Pet Shoes. This is Workshop Live. It's a beautiful day in Wisconsin, and you know, we like to talk about all things modifications for custom orthotics and over-the-counter products. Today we're dealing with a custom orthotic from Chia Pet Shoes, 4 laminate, 35 durometer EVA top cover. She's had them since about March of 2021 this year, and they've been working great up until about 2 weeks ago, where she noticed her left side was abducting or pointing to the outside a whole lot. She's just getting this left column irritation. A little bit of supination within the rear foot where the heel bone is kind of turning to the outside. So you got this combo of the forefoot peeking out a little bit too much and the rear foot turning out just a touch. More so the forefoot turning. So this customer had a nice setup with a standard metatarsal pad with SR Poron material. Now this stuff starts at right around a 1/4 of an inch, and over about the course of 6 months, this is going to compress about 50%. This lasts about 6 months. We realize that when we put them on. Depends on the usage and what we're playing around with. But you know, she was kind of right at that 6-month mark, and the material when she came in today seemed pretty thin and compressed. So we shaved that down. Now, considering what she's dealing with, she's also dealing with pinched nerves in the lower back, and she's going to be having a surgical procedure with a nerve blocker put in October. So there's an outside additional factor from a structural standpoint that this could be causing some more left column irritation. But considering what we can offer structurally with the orthotics is we're looking at replacing the SR Poron Met Pad with a little bit different shape. We're big fans of the Pet Egg T4 Met Pads. It's just a great shape. You get a little bit more pressure into the midfoot area. Not quite an arch bar, but it goes a little bit more into the midfoot, so you get more of that metatarsal coverage. More so down the middle area here, right up into the cutiform bone. So we're big fans of that pad. Now, the left side is the affected column. What we're also going to do is a cuboid notch, or an additional pressure right where the cuboid bone sits. And for that, we often use multi-cork, 1/8 inch. Multi-cork's great for wrapping around specific areas. So we typically make it about 3/4 of an inch and then taper each edge. That works out really well. And it doesn't have to wrap too far down onto the bottom of the foot. Usually we're looking for right around 1/2 inch coverage and then wrapping all the way up. So, get this glued. Now I pre-glued the T4 Met Pads, and the material that we're using for that is going to be a really great material called cushion cork. It's a cork and rubber combination. It's thinner compared to your SR Poron material, but it's a lot firmer. So we're going thinner, firmer, longer lasting. Most people get about 12 to 18 months out of this material here. So, you know, thinking from a timing standpoint, it doesn't surprise me if something was going to happen. It's happening at this point with the pressure and this kind of compensation, the abduction turning to the outside with that left forefoot. You combine that with some nerve irritation. There is no sciatica presence with this patient, so we're not dealing with kind of shooting like pains or anything like that, but the whole left column has been affected. And structurally speaking, this customer, I want to say it was like a D15. I don't have that in front of me right now. Quadricep foot typing system. Make sure you check it out. Best way to set up your biomechanics Cessna. It's quadruped foot driving system. D15 foot, standard, you know, medium low arch, a little bit of mobility, relatively very structured, and good solid foot. So we like to give it a little extra pressure. Way to get some nerves out too. We're gonna grind this up. When I do the T-form, bring that to the side. I like to touch the edges about a quarter of an inch. And then blend that into my stock triangle.
You're done with this? I need you to forward that email of the DA conference to my email.
So, alright. T-form met pads are done. Say hi, Pete. Hey. That's Pete. He's our master cobbler. He is the best. Alright. So, the thing about multi-cork, this type of cork, it's very flexible and it works well around edges. Cushion cork, it's a little bit more crumbly, there's more rubber content to it, so it doesn't work extremely well around edges. Multi-cork, we like putting in an oven, you know, 1/8 inch, you got about 30 to 35 seconds, soften it up a bit, and wrap it really nicely. And you always want to make sure you give glue enough time to dry. So my intentions with this change is that we get a little bit more coverage down the midfoot. We got about the same amount of base support for the metatarsals and longer lasting, firmer material that should help guide the foot as she's midfoot through toe off a little bit more even. Now I'm sure there's some components of this compensation irritation to the back issue. But we want to offer as good of a structural solution when it comes to the orthotic. So this lateral cuboid bar is potentially something we could leave on indefinitely. We can take it off. She's getting said she's getting a nerve blocker in October sometime, so we'll probably revisit once that happens and come to a conclusion on what the next steps are. But that's going to wrap up this week's workshop live. Make sure to tune in. Check us out at cheapbuttershoes.com. 2 P's and 2 T's. Ain't no better